What's going on, guys? Withinny here, back with another YouTube video. This time we're going to be looking at the crit changes and what they've got planned for the crit and ADC changes going on, because as you know, ADC's been really weak for ages, so let's have a look. I'm also curious to see what they're going to be doing with champions like Yasuo and Tryndamere, and I know Essence Reaver's in here, so there's also the Jax. Melee champions that use these items, because these champions have been flying under the radar as like secret OPs. I know Yasuo with Conqueror, Yasuo and Trend with Conqueror and Infinity Edge is 30% true damage, so they pretty much are like one of those champions that are really horrible to play against once they get like one or two items. So let's have a look. Without further ado, let's get into it. So the first one is Phantom Dancer, but let's just have a read what it says here. Hi everyone, I'm back again to talk about crit items, share what we have so far, and hear your feedback. After testing for the last few weeks and considering feedback both internally and from the community, this is where we've landed. The exact details are in flux. We may need to change a few more things, but I'd love to see what you guys think. What are we missing? Usual disclaimer, like this stuff isn't 100% confirmed. Project goals. The crit users have an ability path that they are excited about, so let's see if they do that. We're going to be thinking about these as we go through it. Crit users have defensive options that fit into their core builds, and crit users become more satisfying for all levels of play. So they want you to feel like you have a maybe diverse item build. You know, you have a build that you're looking forward to building on each champion, I suppose, and that when you get there, like, you feel powerful. That's what I presume is what they're going for here. That's what they mean by that. And that they have a defensive option. So ADCs haven't really had a defensive option. More is fucking terrible. They build two flat magic pen items in boots and Oblivion Orb. That's 30 magic resist. So you basically, from more, you've built 25 magic resist and you've got a 350 magic damage shield only. It is a terrible item on ADCs, and it just, honestly, it needs rework and it needs having a good look at. So, and GA is a bit, you know, it feels really unrewarding to just get blown up and then blown up again, and it gives you 40 armor, so it gets cancelled out really easily. So let's have a look. Phantom Dancer, 30% attack speed, 25% crit chance, and 7% movement speed. And a new passive, upon taking damage that would reduce health below 30%, grants a shield that absorbs 280% for 5 seconds on a 90% cooldown, a 90-second cooldown. Now it's a lower shield than more. It doesn't scale from level, so I presume this is pretty good early game. You know, a good first or second item. You know, it's not going to offer too much. Maybe paired with something else. It'll probably be a second item if you want this, but it doesn't seem to scale from level. So I presume you get that 280 damage shield all the way through the game. However, it's still 2,800 gold, and you know, ADCs are struggling at the moment because their items are really expensive outside of Stormrazor, which doesn't offer too much anymore after like the continuous nerfs. You see a lot of Blade of the Ruined Kings, you see a lot of Rage Blades, and that's because these items offer more of a sudden kind of power spike. But this alone, you know, it doesn't get me too excited. It's nice that they've added a defensive item that has crit chance in as well, so it doesn't feel like you're completely going away from your core item and your core kind of power spike, and you don't delay that. It also means that you don't have to kind of get used to a certain amount of crit chance on a build, but then when a game comes along where you need that defensive item, it kind of feels a bit sluggish. So I like that part of it. Obviously it's kind of like a subpar damage item because of the... So yeah, let's carry on. 25% crit items, so I think all the crit items are going to be 25%. Ooh, a little sneak peek. And Kirchel's Shard buff. So they're making it cheaper. They're making it cheaper. I presume nothing else has changed apart from the fact that it is cheaper. This does a bit more damage, I believe. I'm not... Oh, moving and attacking will make... Yeah, it's just the same as it was before. Yeah, not much here. I guess it's just a nicer power spike with with this. Obviously, like, you have less attack speed, but less crit chance. I would have liked to have seen these items a little bit cheaper. You are getting less out of these, but I presume that they're going to hit us with a big kapow when we get to the Infinity Edge Essence Reavers. You know, let's keep going. Same concept with Static Shiv. This item is dog shit. It needs a buff. I genuinely stand by the fact that these items need to be a little bit cheaper, but I guess they're not going to do that. Because these items used to be 2,600 gold or 2,500 gold for the PD, and they made them more expensive but worse. Static Shiv, yeah, still dog shit. Runon's Hurricane still gives the most attack speed. 25% crit chance again, 7% movement speed. So I see they all give 77% movement speed now, so there's not like a disparity in that. I didn't really get why there was one to begin with. What the difference between 2% movement speed in an item shouldn't be the reason why you buy it. So, and this is exactly the same item. Just as I say, this is the crit chance has changed. So, Essence Reaver and Spear of Shojin change. Now, the Spear of Shojin is an item from Nexus Blitz, but this is different to the one on Nexus Blitz, I believe. I haven't played it that much. We'll go through Essence Reaver first. So Essence Reaver now gives 60 AD, 25% crit chance, 20% cooldown reduction, and basic attacks now refund 1.5% of your missing mana. Now the Essence Reaver we've got now obviously has the Essence Flare bit, which I just saw is on Spear of Shojin now. So I guess this is a nerf to Essence Reaver on a nerf to Essence Reaver. It's a bit confusing to me, to be honest. But it does give 25% crit chance now, so it will kind of go in with your crit chance. You can maybe go Essence Reaver first item on Lucian, and then a Phantom Dancer. Maybe we won't see Bork Black Cleaver anymore. I still feel like that build needs to be nerfed on him specifically. Maybe his double shot doesn't apply the Black Cleaver stat, because I would really like to see the end of Black Cleaver Lucian. It would allow him to be able to be more balanced more with the other ADCs. He's not like a separate component, kind of the way that Ezreal is. But this is a lot like the old Essence Reaver, where you used to get 65 AD, 20% crit chance, 10% cooldown reduction, and then 20% more cooldown reduction when you got more crit chance. I don't know if you guys remember that. And then when you crit, you got 3% of your max mana. So this is like a nerfed version of that, but with a bit more. You get obviously 25% crit chance now, so they're trying to round up the numbers with crit, and that's what they're hoping. This is what I'm getting from this. That's what they're hoping is going to be the buff to ADCs. They're going to feel a bit better because your numbers are going to be more rounded. At the moment, it's a bit of a mess. You get 30% from a crit item, and then you build Infinity Edge, and you've got 60%, and then you have to build another Zeal item to get 100%. It's just, Spear of Shojin, 70 AD. It's a lot of AD. 20% cooldown reduction. So this is basically the Essence Reaver we've got now without the mana component of it at all. So after you cast your ultimate, your next basic attack within 10 seconds gives you placeholder name. Okay, it was Essence Flux. It'll probably be like Fury of Shojin or something like that. I don't know what this item's trying to be. I guess it's like a mix between a bruiser and an ADC item. I honestly don't know which way this is going to go. Maybe Essence Reaver, Zeal, full Zeal item, that's 50% crit. Spear of Shojin, it doesn't really do too much for me. Interesting item. I'm happy that they've added another item into it. I feel like there should just be more items in the game. It allows for a lot more diversity. Even if they only added like one item in each category of champion, I feel like they need to do that. It would allow for certain situations to be sort of not as overbearing, or for you to be more overbearing, and it kind of creates you know, a bit of diversity. Infinity Edge. So they've brought back Cloak of Agility, obviously. It's there, so it's still 800 gold. 70 AD, 25% crit chance, and critical strikes now deal 225% of damage instead of 200%. So this is quite literally a nerfed old Infinity Edge. So they've gone through this massive ADC change. They've gone through all these ADC changes from mid-season last season, and now they've just reverted back to the old Infinity Edge, but they've gave us a nerfed version of it. But they've also gave us nerfed versions of other items as well. So we are just going to be nerfed versions of ADCs before all this happened. Maybe a bit stronger than what it is now. Just because of more rounded numbers, it's nicer to play. I don't see too much to get excited about at the moment. I'm not gonna lie. It still seems like we're gonna take a long time to scale. You're still going to need 3 items to get a decent amount of crit chance. Maybe the only thing that I'm thinking now is that maybe on 2 items we feel like it's a power spike. At the moment you get Storm Razor and Static Shiv, and not Static Shiv, you never buy Static Shiv. Storm Razor and like a Phantom Dancer on Sivir, for example, and you feel quite powerful. In my opinion, that's as powerful as it feels like you get as an ADC at the moment, because it just kind of, and everyone else gets items, so then the tanks become really tanky, and so I feel like we're going to be a bit stronger than what we are right now. The 2 item power spike is nice. The 3 item power spike, you know, if you get another Zeal item. Actually, you could just go, so a build on Lucian could be Essence Reaver, Phantom Dancer, Infinity Edge, and then the Spear of Shojin. And that could be a nice build. It's just off the top of my head, but then you don't have lifesteal, so, but they have buffed Bloodline on the PBA. So there is that. So this is going off track a little bit. This is a nerfed version of Infinity Edge. Old Infinity Edge. It's still probably going to be nicer than the current Infinity Edge when you take into account that there are buffs on Last Whisper, so you are going to be dealing more damage to tanks earlier, so you don't need the true damage. So you'll be dealing around about the same damage to tanks anyway, because the true damage passive was absolute dog shit. And now you're dealing more damage to everyone else. It's something. I feel like we're still going to feel a bit weak. Looking at this, I feel like this is a very small buff to ADCs overall, just because these items are still pretty expensive, nearly 3,000 gold. Your first 2 items, let's have a look how much your first 2 items are going to cost. Your first 2 items are going to cost anywhere from 5,000 to 5,400, no, 5,200 gold, so whichever way you go. I think, yeah, this is, so anywhere from 4,800 to 5,200 gold. It's still a lot of gold for your first 2 items, considering that you do feel very lackluster as an ADC pretty much pre 2 items, you know. I'd be lying if I wasn't excited, purely because it is change, figuring it out. You know, I am the kind of person that will get my mind working, thinking about new builds for every champion that I play. So that excites me, but I don't feel like this is too much of a big buff to ADCs. Now, champions like Tryndamere, Yasuo, I feel like Yasuo is going to like this Phantom Dancer because it gives him more tankiness, more brawling power earlier on. The 12%, you know, once you complete Phantom Dancer, so let's say you're like level 9 or 10, that might be a bit off, but you've probably got like 1,200, 1,300 health. So 12% of that obviously is just over 100 health that you were saving. If you auto attack as soon as before you take any instance of damage, you'd be saving yourself about 1,400 damage. 140 damage. This obviously gives you a 280 health shield, so it's better early game. It will give you more defensive capability early game. But And then obviously Infinity Edge, you're now going to be dealing more damage with crits. You still got the true damage from Conqueror, which needs to get a nerf late game. Overall, I think this is a buff, but a very small buff to ADCs. I think Yasuo is going to like this. I think it's actually a little bit of a buff to Yasuo, because he doesn't have to deal with the fact that he gets 10% true damage from Infinity Edge. Now he gets 25% extra damage to squishies, which he's mainly against in the mid lane, which is where he is mainly played. And there's also Conqueror, so it doesn't even matter about that. True damage, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, overall small buff. I'm not overly excited about it. Maybe when you take into consideration the fact that Bloodline buffs are on the PBE, and it does look like we're going to be getting a fair bit of more lifesteal from that rune, maybe it all ties in to feel like, you know, we're like 20% stronger than what we are now. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Just start a discussion. I do read the comments, and I'll reply and give you my thoughts and whatever. Just no like going and attacking other people in the comments that have a different opinion to you. That's not cool. But yeah, this is pretty much the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I hope you have a great day. Peace.